And the players are just coming out of the tunnel down to our right-hand side. We're here in the West Stand at the Coventry Building Society Arena. To our right in the South Stand, pretty heavy contingent of travelling supporters from Tottenham, filling one half of that South Stand. But the whole stadium is pretty busy here this evening. It's great to see, Dean Ashton, because every time I come here, I remind myself of the trials and tribulations that Coventry City fans have been through over the past decade or so. Seasons played at Sixfields, seasons played at St Andrews. Didn't know they had this nomadic existence. But Mark Robins has masterminded this return of lapsed supporters, and here we are with nearly 20,000 season ticket holders.
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe easy for us to maybe forget, but not for the supporters. And I think what he's built and got the fans back on side in terms of not only back in the club but the team on the pitch, and what he's done is he's put a team on the pitch to be proud of, and they've shown that in the cup competitions under Mark Robins. This isn't a nice draw for anybody, and I don't think Tottenham will have liked it when it came out of the hat. And Coventry, they'll have a confidence about them in any cup competition now because of what they did last season. I think this is a real difficult task for Tottenham, and one that I know the manager won't take lightly, and he'll know it might even go all the way.
Well, there's a couple of Coventry players to listen out for. Milan Van Ewijk is a very important player. He actually plays better, in my opinion, as a right wing back than an orthodox right back, but he does love to get forward down the right hand side. Haji Wright, the American, who arrived from Turkish football last season for £7 million, took a while to adjust to life at Championship level, but he got better and better as the season went on. And then there's this youngster, Norman Bessette, just 19 years of age, Dean, hasn't scored yet, only made a couple of appearances since arriving from Caen in the French League in the summer, was playing in Belgium last season on loan at Mechelen. Big night for him at such a tender age.
It is. Look, not a lot to look back on in terms of depth of goals in his career. Obviously such a young player at 19, obviously a Belgian youth international, and what an opportunity to go up against Dragozin and Davis in particular, with the experience he's got, and having that experience as a young player to go against top centre-backs that have been there and done it. He'll learn an awful lot, and I tell you what, it'd mean a lot for him to get his first goal.
Both teams are in a little bit of a huddle before kick-off. A reminder of the lineups: Wilson in goal for Coventry, Van Ewijk, Thomas, Binks and Bidwell in a back four, Eccles, Allen, Rudoni in midfield, Thomas Asante and Wright flanking Bessette in attack. For Spurs, Forster the keeper, Gray, Dragosin, Davis and Udogi in a back four, Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall in midfield, Odebert, Werner and Solanke in attack. Archie Gray, his first start for Tottenham Hotspur, Dean Ashton, after his move from Leeds.
Yeah, massive call for him at a tender age of 18 to move to Tottenham, when he could easily have stayed at Leeds and had a couple more seasons to grow in confidence and learn what it's like to play at a high level. Instead, he's taken that risk and he gets his opportunity tonight.
And we're underway on Talksport 2 here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. The home side in their traditional sky blue shirts and socks, white shorts. Spurs in their change strip of all kind of mottled green as they attack the end where their supporters are away to our right in the South Stand end. Brighton have already taken the lead in the other League Cup tie tonight, the All Premier League affair against Wolves. Carlos Baleba has made it Brighton 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. That got underway at 7:45. We're 25 seconds into this one, and Spurs are giving the ball away and are allowing Josh Eccles to try and thread the ball through to Brandon Thomas Asante, their summer arrival from West Bromwich Albion. But the ball was intercepted in the nick of time by Ben Davies, given away to the edge of the area, and a drive from Jack Rodoni brings out a flying save from Fraser Forster to push it behind for an early corner. 45 seconds when that shot was unleashed, 0-0.
Well, we know Jack Rodoni's got a beautiful left foot. Mistake by Tottenham in their own penalty area, out towards the edge of the area. Jack Rodoni, no hesitation, out of his feet, and a crisp strike with that left foot. Forster down to his left, makes a brilliant save.
So it's a corner for Coventry in the northeast corner on the far side of the field from us. Plenty of bodies in the 6-yard box, and Binks and also Bessette actually catching the eye of the referee, I think, or is it Dragosin who's being spoken to? Dragosin and Thomas are being spoken to by our referee tonight, Darren England, about a bit of pushing and shoving around the edge of the 6-yard box.
I'd be surprised if Forster gets bullied like Vicario has at times.
Well, he's a much taller, bigger, more physical specimen, Fraser Forster. Rodoni still waiting to deliver this corner from the left. Thomas goes near post. It actually flies into the near post, and Forster bundles it down into the ground and then clutches it at the second attempt, and Spurs can clear their lines. Bentancur knocks it back for Ben Davies and out to the left-hand side, tucked in field by Werner, and it's knocked back by Bentancur to Fraser Forster, the Tottenham keeper. Didn't feature at all last season after a back injury in pre-season last campaign. He's getting his opportunity tonight. And Vicario is on the bench, so two of the younger keepers, Alfie Whiteman, Brandon Austin, not even in the squad this evening for Tottenham. It's back with Forster, now 36 years of age, 470 odd appearances in his club career. Finds Dragusin, the Romanian centre-half. Now on the right-hand side, darting in field, is Wilson Odobert. Across to Ben Davies along the halfway line. And out to the left-hand side for Timo Werner, trying to skip over the challenge of Van Ewijk, who sticks to his task rather well. And it's worked back instead into midfield. And Bergvall won't receive the ball. It goes out to Destiny Udogie. Now Bergvall, another summer signing, hits a diagonal ball into out, left to right, looking for Odobert, who brings it down but has to take it back towards the halfway line to keep possession, being watched all the way by Jake Bidwell. So it's back with Dragusin. 3 minutes gone, 0-0 on Talksport 2.
And Tottenham already in control in terms of possession. It's been a slight change, even more so this season.
Well, here's Odobert again, darting in field from the right flank. Gets it to the edge of the area. Pape Sarr finds Bergvall. It almost broke again at the edge of the area for Tottenham, but Coventry clear their lines up to halfway, but it's intercepted by Udogie. And then Rodoni gets a foot in, and Bassett was trying to turn away from Davies and got caught by Davies just shy of the halfway line. And Darren England, at the very least, wants a word with the Welsh centre-half. 0-0.
Well, I mean, it's got to be a yellow card. Has to be. It doesn't matter whether it's the start of the game. It's a brilliant little bit of play just to let the ball go through his legs and away from Davies, and he's away down the right-hand side. How that isn't a yellow card is absolutely beyond me.
The booze will tell you that the card stayed in Darren England's pocket, and the ball instead is back with Ben Wilson, the Coventry keeper. Hits a low, flat clearance down the centre of the pitch, beyond Haji Wright, and just drifts out of play for a Spurs throw that Archie Gray will take on his first start for his new club. Played in all manner of positions when he was a Leeds United player. Practically played everywhere, but in goal.
He's probably good at that as well.
He probably would be.
Yeah, Tottenham this season, they're top for average possession in the Premier League so far. I actually think they've been very good in all of their games and dominated the ball against Arsenal. Of course, were done by a set play, but it's something that obviously Ange wants, is even more control in as many games as he can. They just need a bit more end product.
Bidwell finds Haji Wright on halfway for Coventry. 5 minutes gone on Talksport 2. 0-0 in the Carabao Cup between Championship and Premier League sides. Haji Wright eventually gets dispossessed, but a great challenge on Dominic Solanke wins the ball back temporarily for Coventry, and then Archie Gray tries to slide Timo Werner in down the right hand side of the box, but the offside flag goes up from Nick Greenhouse, our assistant on this near side, and Coventry have a free kick at 0-0.
It was just a little bit slow actually from Archie Gray. It was a really clever run from Timo Werner in between the two centre-backs down the side. Just needed Gray to get his head up nice and early and play that first time. Instead he took 3 touches, and at that point Werner was offside. These sides haven't met for over 20 years in this competition, and Spurs won it at the old Highfield Road. Some of you might remember that stadium back in 2003, and a former Coventry player, Robbie Keane, was amongst the goals that night for Tottenham in a 3-0 win. Freddie Canute was also a goal scorer that night. Spurs' last major trophy was the League Cup. I was there at Wembley in 2008. Jonathan Woodgate with an extra time winner against Chelsea. Werner on halfway gets the ball in field, but Udogie gets dispossessed, and Bassett starts making a run down the right hand side. He's going to outpace Ben Davies. Great strength from Norman Bassett down that right hand side. Now he checks his run, looking for support. Not really got much with him out on that right flank. Tries to go on the outside of the challenge that came in from Davies.
And he's put it out for a throw to Coventry City, but great pace from the youngster there for Coventry City.
Outpaced Davis. I thought you were kind. He left him at the bus stop, to be honest. Absolutely gone. Brilliant turn of pace. And already now Davies is thinking, right, I'm probably going to have to sit off a couple of yards just to make sure.
Milan Van Ewijk with a long throw into the box, comfortably headed clear at the near post by Udogie, but Van Ewijk wins it back. Now it's knocked back by Josh Eccles for Bidwell, who first time clips it out left to right to find Van Ewijk once again, but he just rolls it back into midfield. Diagonal ball into the box. Thomas goes up with Forster, and Forster was good and strong and clutched onto it at the second attempt for Tottenham. 0-0.
Yeah, nice and reactive there. Fraser Forster just coming out and claiming. Thomas was never really going to win that, and it would have been a foul anyway.
It was a bit of a clattering, head into arms. Brighton 1, Wolves 0 then in the other Carabao Cup tie tonight. There's Champions League action. Celtic underway against Slovan Bratislava. Club Brugge against Dortmund. Manchester City against Inter is live over on Talksport right now with Jim Proudfoot and Alan Pardew, and PSG against Girona. And earlier today, Bologna and Shakhtar played at a 0-0 draw in the Champions League, and Sparta Prague beat RB Salzburg by 3-0. Ben Davies for Spurs, out to the left-hand side. Werner comes short, but couldn't keep it in play. It was fizzed into him rather from Ben Davies. Awkward for the German, and it just went out over the touchline for a throw to Coventry, just shy of the halfway line. 0-0. Yeah,
just a sloppy touch really. It's going to be fizzed in on this type of surface. I'm looking forward to seeing young Lucas Bergvall coming out of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. There were quite a few fans that I overheard talking about wanting to have seen him come off the bench, and he didn't.
Well, it's his first start tonight. Dragusin nudges Hadji right in the back inside the Coventry half, so the Sky Blues get a free kick. 8.5 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Coventry City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0 if you're just tuning into Carabao Cup Live. Remember, you've got the app download. If your phone, you can easily swipe between this commentary and our Manchester City commentary over on Talksport in a matter of milliseconds. Ian Danter and Dean Ashton with you here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Pape Sarr inside his own half for Tottenham. We'll give it back to Dragusin. His hair tied up in that familiar top knot. Davies just to his left will bring the ball up to the halfway line, squares it inside for Bentancur at the edge of the centre circle. He tried to fire it into the feet of Lucas Bergvall, but it was intercepted for Coventry, and the ball just drifts out of play for a throw to Spurs on this near side. 0-0.
Yeah, superb positioning actually there from Jamie Allen, because they'll look for that. Tottenham will look to pierce right through your midfield. Bergvall looking to get on the half turn.
A little bit of a lazy pass from Ben Davies. Archie Gray hadn't initially spotted it, but then neither of the Coventry players, who could have pounced on the loose ball just inside the Tottenham half. Gray again at right back. Bentancur calling for it just in field from him. Plays the ball over the halfway into the feet of Lucas Bergvall. Good close control for the man from Sweden. Out to Timo Werner, left hand side, approaching the corner of the penalty area. Finds Bergvall again. He couldn't just get round the challenge. Rodoni knocks it back to the edge of his own penalty area, and Thomas Asante very cleverly lets the ball run across his body. He's got 3 Spurs players around him, and one of them in the end, Destiny Udogie, wins it back from him.
Yeah, good pressure from the Tottenham players to win that back straight away. A lovely bit of play from Bergvall to start with, to lovely first touch and outside of the foot to Werner.
8.5 million quid from Djurgården, Lucas Bergvall. 3 sub-appearances in the Premier League before tonight, and he was playing for Sweden in the recent Nations League encounters during the international break. Just 18 years of age, so he's making big strides already in his young career, Lucas Bergvall. Dragusin, just shy of the halfway line, made just 10 appearances since his move from Genoa last year. Long ball downfield, but that's very easy for Van Ewijk to come across and casually chest back to the Cov keeper Ben Wilson. Brought forward by Binks, who was on Spurs books as an academy graduate. Ball down the left-hand side, intended for Bissett, but comfortably intercepted by Dragusin on halfway. And he plays the ball all the way back to Fraser Forster.
Yeah, I felt a little bit for Binks. His interview was being played loudly on the big screens as all the players were warming up, talking about looking forward to playing against Son and Kulusevski. Who's your favourite player in the team? Horrible when you're trying to warm up.
There speaks a man clearly of bitter experience, Dean Ashton, alongside us tonight. Udogie for Spurs, down the left-hand side of the Coventry box, fired the cross in, but it was Thomas at the near post who got something on it to get it clear. Rudoni goes in for a 50-50 with Sarr, but Sarr comes away with the ball for the visitors. Darting down the left-hand side of the area, Werner on the overlap, but Sarr still has it, rolls his foot on the ball and he's forced out of the penalty area by good strength from Josh Eccles, the Coventry captain, and in the end, ball goes out of play and a free kick has been given for a push on Pape Sarr, 0-0.
Yeah, initially the pressure was superb and then he just shoved Sarr in the back, but Udogie, it was down the left-hand side. The licence that the fullbacks in Ange Postecoglou's team are given is quite incredible. To even get into the centre forward position time after time and got down the left-hand side, tried to cut it back and it was blocked.
Gray again for Tottenham, out to the right-hand side for Odebeer. Now it's picked up by Bergvall, clips it infield, nobody at the edge of the area in a green Spurs shirt, so Coventry bring it away. Rudoni tried to fire it down the left wing for Jamie Allen. It was a great block from Pape Sarr to put it out of play for a Coventry City throw. Coventry have had a couple of Wembley heartaches. They had the FA Cup semi-final heartache last season against Manchester United, and we can't forget the penalty shootout defeat to Luton when the Hatters got into the Premier League at Coventry's expense in the playoff final a couple of years back. But they have won at Wembley in the recent past. They won there in the Football League Trophy not long after Mark Robins' return to management here. He had an initial spell early in his managerial career and then came back after spells away with the likes of Huddersfield Town. And he's a big part of why Coventry are knocking on the door of the Premier League as they have in the past couple of years. They have possession just inside their own half. Wright gives the ball back to Binks, who under pressure from Solanke does quite well to get the ball back to Wilson, and Wilson gets the ball cleared just in the nick of time because Solanke was closing him down, and the clearance nearly dropped over the heads of the Tottenham back four and allowed Thomas Asante in behind.
Yeah, that's something they've worked on. When the goalkeeper gets it, they're arrowing it towards Davis because obviously Udogie's nowhere to be seen. Just trying to get down the side of him. No, they've got the pace already. They've seen it from Bassett.
14 minutes gone on Talksport 2. 0-0. Werner down the left-hand side, faced up by Van Ewijk, level with the edge of the area. Bring along the 18-yard line now. Tries to find Solanke, and Binks just unceremoniously puts his left foot through it and sticks it out for a throw, which will be taken by Ben Davies, although you might just leave it. Indeed, he does leave it for Destiny Udogie. Or Pape Sarr, who's going to take it? No, it is Udogie. He looks down the left-hand side for Solanke. Nods it down. One back by Thomas Asante. A slip by Rudoni allows Spurs to win it back. And now driving into the area, Timo Werner trying to get past Binks, but Binks a bit hesitant at first with his defending, but he got the job done in the end. 0-0.
Really important covering from Binks, because Thomas was taken out of it by Werner's pace. Binks came across just to block Werner.
Bentancur looks for Archie Gray, faced up by Wright. Odebeer now picks it up on this near side of the right, but he's dispossessed by Bidwell, who immediately looks up to see what's ahead of him. Plays it infield to Rudoni. Rudoni slips it down the left-hand side, knowing that Bassett was in an offside position. I think the intent was to release Hadji Wright, but the ball was under hit and Spurs have it back, 0-0.
Yeah, just a miscommunication, but brilliant defending from Bidwell. Maybe just caught Odebeer, unless it's a muscle injury for Tottenham's new signing, because he's now gone down.
Yeah, Wilson Odebeer is just clutching. Is it the inside of his thigh or his right knee? He's not happy, sitting just in front of our commentary position and wanting some treatment. So 0-0 here, quarter of an hour gone on Talksport 2. Brighton 1-0 up on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Players coming over to this near touchline to have a bit of a drink and maybe a bit of a chat with their respective coaches at this point. Dean Ashton at 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham have completely controlled possession, 77%, but Coventry shouldn't be particularly disappointed because Arsenal was exactly the same at the weekend. This Tottenham side are more than capable of keeping plenty of possession, but they'll be happy. At the moment, it's all been in front of them. It's Tottenham that have got to come up with the answers, and actually the one chance we've had in the game has come from Coventry pressing and winning it high up, and also they look a threat on the counter-attack, which is what they'll be looking for in those spaces that the full-backs leave.
No goals as yet in the 8 o'clock games in the Champions League, including our game on Talksport right now, Manchester City against Inter. And the call you can make to Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy on the sports bar. The lines will be open for 10 o'clock tonight, and it looks like Odobert will not be able to continue, and Spurs are going to have to make an early change here. We've not reached the 20-minute mark, and the player who signed for £25 million from Burnley is not going to be able to continue, it seems, and Ange Postecoglou is hurrying a change down beneath us. And I can't quite see who's coming on because of the steward.
Yeah, just tell him to move out the way. We need to know.
It is Brennan Johnson who's getting the nod. So, a player who used to ply his trade not too far from here at Nottingham Forest. He comes on. That's a straight swap, really, for Wilson Odobert. Brighton have just gone 2-0 up on Wolves as well in the other League Cup ties. Simon Adingra, the Ivorian, has the second for Brighton at the Amex Stadium. So we're back underway on Talksport 2, and a foul on Jamie Allen, who's a real nuisance in midfield. Celtic are 1-0 up on Slovan Bratislava in the Champions League. Liam Scales gets the opener at Parkhead. And don't forget, Alan Brazil's back on breakfast tomorrow morning, and Gabby Agbonahor's with him, so they could both be cock-a-hoop as things stand with the way things are going for their respective clubs in European competition. And we do have a bonus for you tomorrow night on Talksport. Champions League on a Thursday. You get a bit used to that, and it's Atalanta against Arsenal. Darren Bent, part of our commentary team tomorrow night for that game on Talksport. Long ball downfield for Coventry, bounces through twice and through to Fraser Forster, and now Bentancur just in front of our commentary position. We're about 20 rows back here in the West Stand, in the Tottenham half of the field that they're defending. We're closer to the North Stand than the South, but we've got a very good pitch side view of what's going on here at the Coventry Building Society Arena as Davis just teases the ball out to Udogie on the far left flank. Werner out there with him, gives it back to Udogie, but under pressure from Thomas Asante has to go back to halfway. Davis, he will just bisect a couple of Coventry players and find Archie Gray, who immediately tries to get Brennan Johnson away, hooks the ball back from the dead ball line, chested down by Bergvall, tries to send it with an overhead kick back out to the right wing, really well improvised by Bergvall, and Johnson's there again at the dead ball line, whips a cross in along the deck, and it goes through a crowd of players and comes out to Thomas Asante, who's trying to roll Destiny Udogie and get away down the right hand side for the hosts, but that's good defending from Destiny Udogie to stop him doing that, and Coventry end up hitting it long, and the ball's nodded down, and Bergvall will keep it away from Josh Eccles. 0-0.
But already that's twice that Brennan Johnson's got in behind Bidwell. Something that the fullback won't particularly want is a player just trying to dive round the side and in behind him.
Here he goes again, Brennan Johnson in possession, right hand side, faced up by Bidwell, and Haji Wright's come back to help out as well. Archie Gray in support for Spurs, but his ball intended back for Johnson's intercepted, and Coventry now trying to break. Wright's dispossessed, Bentancur has it back, plays a 1-2 with Bergvall and then tucks it back to Davis on the halfway line. 20 minutes gone, 0-0 if you're just tuning into Carabao Cup live on Talksport 2. And there's more Carabao Cup ties next week. Remember, this third round is split across 2 game weeks. AFC Wimbledon against Newcastle is our Tuesday night offering from Plough Lane. That should be a terrific game. Davis up to halfway looking for Sarr. Foot in from Eccles, wasn't quite enough to keep it away from Spurs, bringing it down the left hand side. Udogie leaves it for Werner. Was the ball out of play? No, says the assistant on that far side. So Werner works his way infield to the centre of the half. Now fires it to the right hand corner of the box for Johnson. Coming infield, Werner takes over again. Strong run for the German. Maybe a back heel for Bergvall, who's in support. He will give it to Lucas Bergvall. Lovely run to dart in between 2 players just for a moment, and then back out to the right wing and for Timo Werner. And the cross blocked behind by Jamie Allen for Spurs' first corner of the game. Midway through the first half, it's 0-0. Dean Ashton.
Yeah, it's almost as if since that substitution and Johnson coming on, there's just a level that Tottenham have gone up, moving the ball a little quicker and switching play to try and get it to the wingers.
Bergvall to take the corner right in front of those Tottenham fans in the South Stand end. right-footed outswinger to come from the Swede. Dragusin making a run to the near post. Werner helps it across the face of goal, but nobody can get a touch. And it breaks out on the left-hand side. Dominic Solanke's gone out to retrieve, trying to trick his way between two players, and he actually fouls Thomas Asante, and it ends up being a Coventry City free kick, 0-0.
I mean, how that made its way all the way through the sort of shortish corner that zipped past Werner and past everybody in the penalty area. Surely that has to be covered by 2 or 3 Tottenham players.
So it stays goalless. And here's Binks looking down this near side for Bidwell, just lobs it over the head of Archie Gray. Haji Wright trying to get away from Bentancur, puts his foot in, comes out for a throw right beneath our commentary position that Bidwell wants to get back into play quickly. Rodoni showing for him short, gets it now, and Rodoni will push down the left hand side for Coventry. Tries to go inside Gray. Does it come off Gray last of all? No, it came off Rodoni. It's a goal kick to Tottenham Hotspur. And we are at the exact midway point of the first half. Ange Postecoglou with his coat on this evening. It's not really that cold. He's got his hands in his pockets. Won the Scottish League Cup twice as Celtic manager. Won nearly half of his games in charge at Tottenham Hotspur. And he looks on as Bergvall comes deep to pick up possession. Gives it away though to Eccles on halfway, but Eccles wasteful with his intended pass to Bassett, so it's back with Spurs again, and Dragusin. Bentancur tries to play the ball along the deck over the halfway line, but it's deflected out of play by Haji Wright, 0-0.
Yeah, they're happy for the centre-backs to have it and even for it to go into Bentancur. But the minute that tries to be played in towards Papsar or to Bergvall, that is when Coventry are looking to press, and if they can get it right and intercept at that moment, they would have the chance to be 3-on-2 if Thomas Asante and Wright are further forward than the fullbacks, who obviously for Tottenham get so far forwards.
That's the voice of former Norwich and West Ham striker Dean Ashton you can hear alongside me, Ian Dante, here at the Coventry Building Society Arena in the Carabao Cup third round, 0-0. 24 minutes gone. Spurs in possession with Davis under pressure from Bassett, works it back to Forster. Dragusin has it now, and again he's not being closed down, as Dean Ashton rightly said. They're letting the Spurs centre-halves have it till pretty much the halfway line. Bergvall now darting down the inside right channel for the visitors, lays it off to Bentancur. Infield it goes to Sarr. Thread it up to the edge of the area. Solanke tries to tee up Bergvall, who tried to immediately give it back to Solanke, and Binks there again a little uncertain at first with his defending, but did get it clear eventually, looking for Bassett, and he's there again, Lewis Binks, with a header. Now he's lost out after a heavy touch from Haji Wright. Back heel from Johnson, gets Archie Gray into the game, he's coming infield, and Binks takes him out. That will probably be a yellow card, and indeed Darren England is going to caution the former Tottenham Academy graduate for a lunging challenge on Archie Gray, 0-0.
Yeah, rightly so, a yellow card, but straight away 5 Coventry players have said to Darren England, well, hang on a minute, where was Davis's yellow card? And pointing towards the spot that challenge was made. But you can't go in the way Binks did there, sort of high up on the thigh, taking Archie Gray out. It was a good move from him.
So Bergvall standing over the free kick. It's about 35 yards out, a good way to the right of centre. And there's a 2-man Coventry wall stationed just in front of the 18-yard line. Werner's in plenty of space right over on the far side at the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Might be making a late run in. Sarr and Bentancur holding at the just outside the area, and Coventry are trying to hold their defensive line bang on 18 yards. Bergvall to take it, he clips it to the far post, and Binks and Thomas between them couldn't prevent getting a touch. It's been given as a corner to Tottenham, 0-0.
I really like that ball in from Bergvall, just kind of fed it in and let it bounce just behind the Coventry defence.
And a short corner work between Werner and Bergvall. Werner with a deep ball in right in front of goal, and Wilson claims it right on his goal line with both hands, and the danger passes for Coventry, 0-0, 26 minutes gone.
I think Tottenham have done well in their build-up and then getting it wide pretty easily. I think the one criticism I would have, and saw it on Sunday against Arsenal, is the wide players, yes, pacey, looking to dart down the sides, but have they got the guile and the creativity to be able to get their head up and actually find a Dominic Solanke in the area, or do they just fire it across?
Rodoni just on halfway for Coventry City, plays it out to Bidwell on this near side of the left, right ahead of him now, picks it up. Bidwell's on the overlap to the dead ball line, swings a lovely left-footed cross in, headed half clear by Udogie, bit of a 50-pence header from Destiny Udogie, wasn't intending it to head it back across his own 18-yard box, but it drops on halfway, and an important foot in from Josh Eccles, the Coventry captain. Spreads play back out to this near side, the Coventry left, and Bidwell slides it down the left-hand side of the box for Rodoni, shapes to cross but then doesn't, leaves it for Bidwell to put a first-time ball in, another swirling cross into the far post, drops at the edge of the area. Jamie Allen tees up Van Ewijk, right-hand corner of the box, he tries to drive it across the face of goal, and it comes off the backside of Timo Werner and out for another Coventry City corner, 0-0.
Really good overlap from Bidwell to start the whole move off. Terrific cross in as well that caused a bit of confusion in the Tottenham area, and then when it was recycled back out, Rodoni making the run down the left, cutting it back for Bidwell, who swung a high ball in and eventually finding itself to Van Ewijk. I just thought he took too long. It was there, quick touch out of his feet, and he could have taken the shot. Instead he allowed Werner just to slide in and make the block.
Again, it's a packed 6-yard box for what will be a left-footed in-swinging corner from Jack Rodoni. Can barely see Fraser Forster for all the players in and around him in either sky blue or mottled green. Rodoni strikes the ball right to the 6-yard line, punched away by Forster through a crowd of players. Did really well, Fraser Forster, to even see that and get it up to halfway, where it's retrieved by Van Ewijk. Rodoni now out on the right hand side, trying to find his captain Eccles, slid into by Bergvall, throw into Coventry City, 0-0.
Did really well there actually, Fraser Forster. He was like a prop with 3 players hanging onto him as he came out and punched really well out of the penalty area. They're obviously looking at that. Maybe you've worked on that, thinking it might be Vicario.
Van Ewijk takes a throw back to Binks, just ahead of the centre circle. Just floats the ball into the area. Comfortable catch for Forster in the end. Thomas Asante was the closest player to him. Bowls it out underarm to Udogie, and Spurs will try and launch a counter-attack here, approaching the half hour, 0-0 on Talksport 2. Werner, though, takes a heavy touch in between Van Ewijk and Binks. They dispossess him, and then little drop of the shoulder from Van Ewijk. Completely bamboozles Werner, and then a loose pass over halfway, intercepted for Tottenham by Davis.
Just looking at Dominic Solanke, obviously big signing for Tottenham. Take a while, I think, just for the players to learn how he makes movements, and him likewise. He's only had 7 touches so far in the game, but he might look at someone like a Haaland, who can be similar and just needing to be alive if that does come into the penalty area.
Brighton 2, Wolves 1 in the other cup tie tonight. Gonzalo Guedes gets a goal back for Wolves right on half-time. That was a 7:45 kickoff. We're at the half-hour stage here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. 0-0. Spurs in possession with Gray. Under pressure from Jamie Allen. Dragusin just slipped as the ball was sent back to him, but he kept his footing well enough in the end. Otherwise, if he had slipped good and proper, Bassett would have been in with a clear run on goal. Forster with a slightly uncertain pass to Gray, with Bassett closing him down. Dragusin again, more sure-footed this time, will play the ball back to the former Celtic and Southampton goalkeeper. Davis, proper club servant to Tottenham Hotspur. 10 years a Spurs player and 330 appearances before tonight. But he's getting a chance tonight after being on the bench since the start of the season, the Welsh international. Here's Dominic Solanke coming a bit deeper to pick up possession. Slides it down the left-hand side of the area for Udogie, who was put off at least temporarily by Van Ewijk. And then he's fouled by the Dutchman. Spurs get a free kick down by the corner flag, left-hand side, 0-0.
So dynamic, isn't he, Destiny Udogie? When he gets forwards, there's no half measures. When he's going properly. Driving, whether that's overlapping, underlapping, getting into the centre-forward position. He makes sure that he does it with purpose.
So a free kick down by the corner flag on the far side of the field, the Tottenham left. Bergvall to take it, and we've seen the quality he's delivered already from a set piece from in front of goal. Here he is at the side of the goal. Solanke in the 6-yard box, Dragusin and Davis jostling for position just behind the penalty spot. And a couple of Spurs players lurking at the edge of the area, Gray and Sarr. But Bergvall goes under the crossbar, headed away by Binks. Coventry now trying to push out as Bentancur retrieves the ball, finds Gray infield, just ahead of the centre circle. And it's knocked back onto the halfway line for Udogie, who is the last man defending. Davis into the feet of Bergvall. Under pressure from Allen, has to send it back into his own half for Udogie. 31 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Carabao Cup live between Championship and Premier League, and we're still awaiting the deadlock to be broken here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Spurs' next 2 games live on the Talksport network as well. Our Saturday 3 o'clock offering here on Talksport 2 from the Premier League is the London derby, Spurs against Brentford, and then they take on Karabakh of Kazakhstan in the Europa League next Thursday. That's also live here on Talksport 2. Brandon Thomas-Asante for Coventry, trying to work the Oracle down the right hand side. Well, he's won a throw near the corner flag for the Sky Blues after wrestling for possession with Bentancur. So a chance for Van Eyck to launch another long throw into the box here, Dean Ashton. And
that is where the space is, out wide. They've got joy, Coventry, when they've found their way to the flanks. So Van Eyck winds up for this latest long throw, flicked on by Thomas to the edge of the 6-yard box. Ball just bounces for a moment, and it's Ben Davies who gets there first to hook it clear. Van Eyck back in possession down the right hand side, gets the better of one Spurs player, but intercepted by Udogie. And now Timo Werner trying to launch a counter attack, trying to outpace Rudoni down the left hand side, and in trying to nick it infield, it just ricocheted off the heel of Rudoni and allowed the Coventry number 5 to bring it forward as they now counter. Van Eyck again, faced up by Udogie, right hand side, tries to get the crossing, deflected off Udogie's boot. Third corner of the half for the Sky Blues. It's half time at the Amex. Brighton 2, Wolves 1. Still just less than quarter of an hour to play here in the first half, and it's 0-0. Again, I think that is the frustration when you watch Timo Werner, is he has got the pace, but he's very weak. You know, when that ball needs, and you need to get your body in and make sure that you hold your position, he's easily just kind of brushed aside.
Now there's a few more players for this corner for Coventry that have come out to nearer the penalty spot rather than packing the 6-yard box. Now they make the run into the 6-yard box. In it comes, it drops on the 6-yard line. Allen heads it up in the air. Whole crowd of players go for the same ball. Where's it going to drop on 6 yards? Thomas-Asante went for an overhead kick with a whistle from Darren England had already gone. That was a right old melee in the Spurs penalty area, but it comes to nothing, 0-0.
And it all came because of a fantastic delivery from Rudoni. That's what puts the pressure on the defending team. If you get that delivery right into a great area.
Oh, a little nutmeg on Rudoni by Bentancur, but he then ran into Jamie Allen, who just smacked the ball downfield. So it went out of play for a Tottenham Hotspur goal kick. Just over 10 minutes to half time. Manchester City still 0-0 with Inter Milan in the Champions League. That's live on Talksport right now, remember, with Jim Proudfoot and Alan Pardew alongside Adrian Durham at the Etihad. It's Ian Danter and Dean Ashton, former West Ham, Norwich and England striker, with you on Talksport 2 at the Coventry Building Society Arena as Tottenham come forward with Dragusin up to halfway. Flicks it infield to Bentancur, who gives it back to the Romanian.
I mean, when you think of how well the build-up play from Tottenham's been in terms of the centre-backs into midfield and out wide, it's been terrific.
Now Davis looking long for Bergvall, who'd made a strong run through the centre of the pitch, but the ball from Davis was just slightly overhit and bounced through to Ben Wilson.
That's better though, and if I was Dominic Solanke, I would be saying to Bergvall, I'd be saying, I need you to start making a few runs beyond me, to maybe give me space and to take some attention away from one of the centre-backs, because he's up against two of them. But I said about that, the build-up's been terrific, but they haven't had a shot yet in the game, and that's the frustration, is you can have all that build-up without then any end product and not getting your centre forward into the game.
Indeed, the only shot we've had, if you're just tuning into Talksport 2, came on 45 seconds from Jack Rudoni after a defensive mishap at the back from Tottenham, and Forster was forced to make a very good early save to his left-hand side. So we are still goalless. Papassar down the right-hand side finds Brennan Johnson, forced to come on as a substitute in the first half after an injury to Wilson Odobert. Sarr now menacingly moves in field for Tottenham, plays a lovely ball with the outside of his right boot, but it's intercepted by Bibbo before he can get anywhere near Solanke, and then a bit of a collapse between Gray and Wright. Ball's played down the right hand side of the Coventry box, and there was a clip on the heels of Bobby Thomas by Solanke, and Coventry get themselves a free kick in their own penalty area, 0-0.
He's a willing runner, Dominic Solanke. He will look to run in behind at every opportunity, so they need to look for him a little bit earlier. Perhaps I'll tried it, and then Johnson did the same, and it was really good covering from Bobby Thomas. And actually, let's give some credit to Coventry. They've set up in a really good defensive shape, and they're not allowing Tottenham to go through the middle.
It's extraordinary, really. Mark Robins returned in 2017, and he's won over 150 of his 370 odd games in charge since, and he never gets linked with any other vacancies. It's extraordinary. Bidwell for Coventry, down the left hand side, cross to the far post. Rodoni tries to stroke it home on the half volley, blocked by the legs of Forster. Another chance, Rodoni against Forster, and Forster comes out on top, 0-0.
And again, the space is out wide. Bidwell just running off Brennan Johnson. Brilliant ball over to Rodoni, who tried it on the half volley. I thought it would have been better on the volley. He's gone for the half volley, hit it into the ground, and also Forster's legs.
Now Bergvall striding forward for Tottenham, 30 yards out, quite central. To his right is Sarr. Further down the right hand side of the box now, Brennan Johnson along the deck. Well, all the Spurs players have run ahead of the ball. The ball went behind them, and Coventry will try and counter-attack and release. Bassett over the top. He's in behind Dragusin. Norman Bassett angles tight, and he fires it over the bar on the half volley. He wants a corner. Goal kick given. Stays 0-0, but Coventry are now knocking on the door here.
Brilliant pass over the top for Bassett, who is away from Dragusin, takes the touch, and that's a great save from Forster. Forster knows it, tips it over the bar from the strike at the near post from Bassett. And you can't believe that a goal kick's been given.
And that all came from that run down the right hand side of the box for Spurs from Johnson. The ball pulled back, and there were three Spurs players ahead of the ball who'd made runs in front of goal, but the ball went behind them all, and suddenly Coventry were at the other end of the pitch within milliseconds. 0-0 though, 7 minutes to half time on Talksport 2. Dragusin for Tottenham in the centre circle, options left and right. Elects to pass out to the right wing, looking for Johnson, kept in play, and Bergvall gets ahead of Haji Wright. Good strength from this Swedish youngster. Right now trying to get back at him, and now he does win possession back, and Haji Wright is a difficult customer to get around, and he's actually won himself a free kick for a bit too much attention on him from Lucas Bergvall. 0-0. Good contest that.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And I talked about the opportunity when they get wide and having that little bit of that guile and that creativity out wide. Brennan Johnson had that chance and picked out nobody, rather than seeing where those runners were and then looking to play into that area.
Van Ewijk picks up a crossfield pass from the free kick, but runs into Udogie and then nudges Udogie over. Free kick to Tottenham. Definitely a save, by the way, from Fraser Forster. Our producer Carl has shown us the replay. We don't have immediate replays in our commentary position here, but our producer Carl has shown us footage of what was definitely a tip over the bar from that Bassett shot by Fraser Forster, but it was given as a goal kick, and it stays 0-0 with 5 minutes of the first half remaining on Talksport 2 here at a very mild night at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Beautiful late summer's day, barely a cloud in the sky, perfect conditions for football. Thrown in by Archie Gray from the right hand side for Tottenham, but the home side win it back. Allen, hurried clearance, finds Bassett inside his own half with Dragusin at his back, turns away from him and then tries to clip the ball down the right hand side, asking Thomas Asante to give chase, but in truth, even though Thomas Asante was caught on his heels a little, the ball was hit too long and too straight through to Forster. 0-0.
And if they are going to play that longer pass, like the one for Bassett, that angled diagonal pass that can run into the empty channel that Tottenham leave, is much better than 3 or 4 have actually just been too straight and bounced through to Forster. That's just the players recognising where the space is and making sure that you give your teammate a chance to run onto it.
Dragusin again allowed to have possession without being pressed by anybody in sky blue on halfway. Plays it just to his right for Gray. Sarr now picks it up and comes infield from the right touchline, gives it back to the Romanian number 6. Dragston again rolling his foot on the ball, knowing he's got time to size up his options. Being forced further back into his own half though, as a press does come in from Bassett, and now Fraser Forster has it. Just to his left is Davis, into the feet of Bergvall, midway point of his own half, being pressurised by Josh Eccles, but he's ridden that challenge very gracefully. Lucas Bergvall looks very, very light on his feet and very clever with the ball at his feet. Udogie inside left channel for Tottenham, finds Werner on the left wing, faced it by Van Ewijk. Udogie's gone again for the overlap, but the ball's overhit from Werner, flying over the dead ball line. Goal kick.
Yeah, again, more frustration from wide areas for Tottenham. This time it's Werner with the overpass straight out of play. Bergvall, you're right though, just the way he moves is almost so balletic, isn't it? Almost like when you watch Federer play tennis, it's just like the movement of the body just looks so fluid and easy with the way that he collects the ball and then drifts away.
Sometimes you see the balance of a youngster and you think that's beyond your years, mate, because he's 18. I remember the first time I saw Michael Carrick playing on loan for Swindon Town, I think it was, at that sort of age.
Great recall.
I'm thinking, wow, I mean, this kid's got absolutely everything. And he did, and he won everything. Michael Carrick in the end. 2.5 minutes to half time. Ball's back with Fraser Forster, under pressure from Bassett, manages to pass out to Davis, left hand side of the area, and he calmly rolls it down the left flank for Udogie. Plays a nice 1-2 with Werner that time, but then overhits the pass, and Rudoni intercepts for Coventry City on halfway. He finds Eccles. Eccles finds Thomas Asante, running at Ben Davis, right hand corner of the area, across the face of goal for Haji Wright, just overhit. Right idea from Brandon Thomas Asante, knowing that Haji Wright was the only player up with him, tried to feed it across the box for his strike partner, but it was hit too firmly. Goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, terrific idea from Thomas Asante. As a forward, he'll know what you would want in that position. He just slightly overhit it, which he'll be disappointed about, because actually it wasn't a difficult ball to play. But once again, when they get it wide, Coventry, they have caused serious problems.
Well, Thomas Asante was the man that got the winning goal in round 2 against Oxford United to see Coventry through to this match tonight. A minute of normal time to go in this first half. Oh, space down the left-hand side of the box for Udogie. Pulls it back looking for Pape Sarr. Important footing for Coventry from Jamie Allen. And then Rudoni tried to squirt the ball out to the right-hand side for Van Ewijk, but it goes outside for a throw. Jamie Allen, definitely right place, right time for his side then.
Yes, a couple of times he's done that, showing his experience in there. Udogie, difficult for Thomas Asante, because of the way Udogie gets forward to make sure he's switched on all the time.
Now intercepted by Bobby Thomas from Solanke, works it back to Van Ewijk, right hand corner of his own penalty area. Sent back to goalkeeper Ben Wilson, under pressure from a sliding Bergvall, gets it clear, but it's one back. Bergvall is back on his feet at the edge of the area, and Brennan Johnson with some neat footwork on this near side, works it infield to Sarr. Now Davis finds Bentancur. Ball's about to go up to indicate how many extra minutes, but here's Archie Gray down the right hand side of the box. Ball into the near post is very comfortably saved by Ben Wilson as we go into 1 minute of minimum added time. 0-0, Dean Ashton.
Absolutely story of Tottenham's half, that was just that last move. Again, terrific build up in towards the midfield, sprayed out towards Archie Gray, plenty of time on the ball to find a good cross, and just puts it into the arms of the goalkeeper. And yet to have an attempt. If I was a Dominic Solanke, and I did this a couple of times in my career in a half like this where you've had nothing, is from 40 yards I'd have just got it and smashed it in the stands to make a point.
Sarr now overhitting a pass intended for Brennan Johnson, and it's through to Ben Wilson, who just waits for Solanke to get within 3 yards of him and then picks up the ball. I love that when goalkeepers play chicken with the striker and just wait for them to get within striking range and then pick the ball up. There must have been an occasion where a goalkeeper's got it completely wrong. Wilson will clear from hands. The minute of minimum stoppage time is up. All eyes on Darren England to see whether he decides to bring the half to a close now, and he does. And warm applause from three sides at least of the Coventry Building Society Arena. Bit of apathy from the Spurs fans, in fairness to our immediate right in the south stand, because it's goalless between Championship and Premier League in this Carabao third round cup tie, and Coventry City have had the better of the gilt-edged chances. 45 seconds when Spurs dillied and dallied around their own defensive third. The ball broke for Jack Rodoni, who smacked a left-footed shot goalwards, brilliantly saved by Fraser Forster, getting a rare start in the Tottenham goal this evening. Hadji Wright close to sliding in on a Thomas Asante cross, and there's been one or two moments. Jack Rodoni with a half volley blocked by Fraser Forster's legs, but the reason I haven't mentioned Spurs' chances at the other end is because, Dean Ashton, there really haven't been any. 0-0.
Not a single effort on goal from Tottenham, considering how good the build-up's been, considering how easily they've been able to get the ball wide, yet to even create an opportunity or even a shot from distance in anger. And Coventry have sat there, defended really well, and sprung on the counter-attack and used the wide areas really well. Bidwell in particular, actually. Usually it's Van Eerbeek that you see marauding down the sides. Actually, it's been Bidwell that's been using this left-hand side to create a couple of great opportunities, in particular the one for Rodoni. I think that's the best chance of the game. Struck it with the half volley. I thought he should have gone with the volley, but I think he'd be really pleased, Mark Robbins.
Well, I was about to ask you for the penny for the thoughts of the two managers. No frustration for Robbins that they're not in front, given that they've had by far the better of the chances?
Possibly. You know, you're not looking at a chance that you go, you absolutely have to score that opportunity. The half volley from Rodoni is a difficult skill, but you'd expect to take it. But I think he'll just be really pleased in the way that they've contained Tottenham. You know, to have a Premier League side with the quality that they have come to your home patch and not even give them a shot in the first half, I think says a lot about the way they've set up and controlled their defensive display.
Don't forget that if things stay as they are, or stay level after 90 minutes, there is no extra time. We would go straight to a penalty shootout, and we had a mammoth penalty shootout last night at Deepdale. They might still be taking penalties now if it wasn't for somebody missing. I think it was 18-17 in the end, as Preston got through against Fulham. Well, we could have a penalty shootout here if we're not careful. Ange Postecoglou got plenty to say, I'm sure, to his players at half-time, because the Premier League side have yet to create a chance worthy of the name here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Full second half commentary to come, but at the break, it's Coventry City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
Get all the goals on your radio.
And he heads it towards goal, and it's in!
The League Cup live on Talksport 2.
From the supporters' bus to the starting grid, the dressing room to the dugout, all ears are on the warm-up on Talksport with NordVPN.
That is a magnificent start.
Get connected to the UK's fastest and most reliable weekend sports preview.
Brilliant football.
Expert pre-match predictions, big clash build-up and superior sporting speculation on the warm-up. This Saturday morning on Talksport with NordVPN. Cyber security built for every day. Find out more at nordvpn.com/Talksport.
Bye, Mum. Bye, love. Have a good day. Right, got something for dinner and paid the bills. What would they do without me? Oh, that reminds me. I need to get life insurance sorted.
Legal and General Life Insurance can help cover the expenses of family life should the worst happen to you. Premiums start from £5 a month and you'll get a £120 gift card if you apply before the 22nd of November. Protect your loved ones. Search Legal and General Life Insurance today. No cash in value, T's and C's apply.
Live on DAZN, September 21st. Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois fight for the IBF World Heavyweight title.
Anthony Joshua!
AJ stands on the brink of history to become a 3-time world champion.
Oh, big shot! A colossal right hand for Dubois!
Daniel Dynamite Dubois, Britain's silent powerhouse, stands in his way. An explosive night at Wembley awaits. Joshua versus Dubois, live on DAZN, September 21st. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Lighten the load for the rest of the year with EE's ultra-fast broadband free for 3 months.
I'm sorry, did you say free? Free, like nothing at all? What, for 3 whole months?
You bet, and you'll get speeds of 150 meg.
And it's powered by BT.
Switch before the 26th of September to pay absolutely nothing for 3 months.
£33.99 for a month for 24 months. Price increases on 31st of March each year by £3 a month. 43.7% UK availability. New customers.
What's worse than having a minging flatmate? Having nothing in your flat, mate. Pop to Lidl and get 50% off all air fryers, a HP notebook for £139, and Silent Night bedding from £4.99. Now that's big on quality. And always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores, GB only.
At NatWest, we think Britain's small businesses are a big deal. It's why we've helped more businesses get started in the last year than any other UK bank. Get 2 years free banking on everyday transactions when you open a NatWest startup account, plus free digital tools and expert advice. Ready to take your first step? Search NatWest Business. Tomorrow begins today with NatWest, proud partner of Team GB. To verify, email checkit@natwest.com. Eligibility criteria, terms and conditions apply. Other fees may apply.
Thursday night, the Champions League live on Talksport.
He's popped up with an absolute belter of a goal.
Atalanta versus Arsenal.
Bravado and build-up from 7. Full comms commence at 8 p.m. No one else brings you more. Thursday night on Talksport.
Football fantastic. On DAB+, online, via the Talksport app and on your smart speaker.
Live football coverage that's beyond compare.
A quite fabulous goal.
The League Cup live on Talksport 2.
And we're underway on Talksport 2 here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Given away to the edge of the area, and a drive from Jack Rodoni brings out a flying save from Fraser Forster. Coventry will try and counter-attack and release Bassett over the top. He's in behind Dragosin. Norman Bassett angles tight and he fires it over the bar.
That's a great save from Forster.
Bidwell for Coventry. Down the left-hand side, cross to the far post. Rodoni tries to stroke it home on the half volley, blocked by the legs of Forster. It's goalless between Championship and Premier League in this Carabao third round cup tie, and Coventry City have had the better of the gilt-edged chances. This is Talksport 2. Ian Danter and Dean Ashton, the former England West Ham Norwich striker, alongside me on commentary at the break. Coventry City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Let's update you on all the scores elsewhere. They're into the second half in the other EFL Cup tie tonight. Brighton 2, Wolves 1, that was the score at half-time. Brighton raced into a 2-0 lead. Wolves got one back through Gonzalo Guedes just before half-time. Carlos Baleba got the opener for Brighton, and Simon Adingra made it 2-0. In the Champions League, the full times from the tea time games: Bologna 0, Shakhtar Donetsk 0, and Sparta Prague 3, RB Salzburg 0. And half-time in the 8 o'clocks, just one goal in all four ties, and it's gone to Liam Scales of Celtic, who leads Slovan Bratislava by a goal to 0. So Bruges 0, Dortmund 0, Man City 0, Inter 0. Commentary of that game over on Talk Sport right now. And Paris Saint-Germain 0, Girona 0. So you are up to date here on Talksport 2 at half-time. Well, Manchester City playing tonight against Inter Milan. It's an expanded Champions League group stage this season with 8 games rather than 6. And the Manchester City midfielder Rodri has said that professional footballers could go on strike if fixtures keep being added to their schedule. The new expanded format of the Champions League began this week, while City are also set to compete in the revamped Club World Cup next summer. Now, I was listening earlier on White and Jordan this morning when the former chief of the PFA, Gordon Taylor, joined the boys, and he was asked if Rodri had a point.
He very much has a point. You've got to respect the opinion of one of the finest, if not the finest players in the world. And it's about quality, not quantity. And it's not a question of, they can play them as many times as they want, they get paid well enough. It's about looking after the quality of what you've got. And they're only human beings. And it's same as you've got to be careful with so many other sports, with rugby because of the collisions, with boxing because of, how hard that is. We don't look after them enough, and I think we go to the well far too many times, and as a result, we're talking quantity, not quality.
What would you say to those who would suggest, well, they're extremely well-paid individuals, your employees, get on with it?
That's the response you get. You read the papers and some of the papers this morning, oh, well, they get paid well enough, they should just get on with it. And such a body, I mean, it's like, remember when players were talking about removing the maximum wage? Classic response was from one of the meetings that I was a youngster and went to, when they said, well, my dad's a miner and he works down the pit and he gets paid a lot less, etc., etc. And Tommy Banks said, well, he said, I respect your dad's job. I've been down that pit, but you try telling your dad to come up next Saturday afternoon out of that pit and mark Stanley Matthews. And that brought the house down, because it is about quality and about a special skill that players have. And it's whether you want to see them at the best for as long a time as possible, or whether you want to burn them out.
Gordon, this is a problem we haven't... People have been talking about it for a while now, but I've been looking at the numbers. And if you go back, and you remember it, late 70s, 80s, if we take Liverpool, who were the most successful team, people like Kenny, Graham Souness, I've looked... Kenny played 8 years at nearly 60 games a season in completely different circumstances. Granted, pitches were worse, didn't have the same size squads, didn't have the nutrition, didn't have the help. This is something that has always happened for the elite players, the minority. So 60-odd games is generally where players are at when you're playing top level. We haven't got to 70 or 80. I understand the argument where he's saying if we get to that. But at the minute, players are moaning about something that's gone on for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. It's the norm if you're successful. So we're hypothesising ultimately about something that may happen that hasn't happened yet. And it's not 80 games. He's got his numbers wrong.
So it's not just a straightforward question of you're an employee, we employ you, get on with it. It's not a question of that, Gordon, not in your eyes. It's not as simple as that.
It's a special skill, and from that point of view, it's the same with everything. Even if you're, I suppose, if you're a musician, if you're going to be playing every night, you'd be burnt out soon, because it takes energy, it takes skill, and it's really about looking after we should be looking after the best, because they set the example for everybody else. And if you're a lower division player, you have a lot of games, and you're just happy to play the game and get paid for it. But when you're talking about the very best, I think we should look after our very best players. And Rodri's got every right to speak out when, I mean, he's got such a top quality reputation. You understand what he means, and you just wonder and feel about FIFA are always wanting to organise more competitions. UEFA want to organise more competitions. We now don't have any friendlies. It's all about a proper competitive game. So it's just about, I mean, as Danny says, the pitches are better, the boots are lighter. But with the way that the medical side of the game has improved, and how there's much more knowledge about how to look after your players' careers aren't really extending either. So bearing in mind we're talking top quality players, at the moment I think we're just going to reduce that time span for our very best.
So Gordon Taylor in conversation with White and Jordan. They're back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on Talksport. I have to ask Dean Ashton this question. Would you ever have been prepared to take strike action if you felt you were being overplayed?
Don't be ridiculous. You're asking somebody who retired early through injury whether I would care if I had to play more games. I find it absolutely pathetic from the players that they just train less then. You know, you want to play. That's the enjoyment is playing the game. You know, just train a little bit less. Players want to play. It's a surprise to me that players are making such comments.
Well, it could just be sabre rattling. It could be something a good deal more serious. We'll just have to wait and see. Particularly when the Club World Cup rolls around next summer, I think that could be very much a tipping point, if you will. Just looking down beneath us, is there potential for change of players, or is it just change of footwear? I think Jed Spence might be coming on, in actual fact, for Tottenham Hotspur. We haven't seen much of him wearing the Spurs crest, and he is indeed coming on to replace Destiny Udogie for a straight switch at left back. I can't imagine for a moment, Dean Ashton, that is tactical. That must be.
No, I mean that might have even been preordained before the game.
Yeah. Well, Jed Spence is on for Tottenham Hotspur. 2 sub-appearances this year. He was at Genoa on loan last year, having joined from Nottingham Forest a couple of years ago. And he has settled straight back into that Spurs back for us. But back underway. Coventry in their sky blue shirts and socks with the white shorts are kicking towards the south stand to our right, as we sit about 20 rows back in the west stand here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Tottenham, who are attacking the north stand to our immediate left, they're in their change strip tonight, of that kind of mottled green strip they have. Shirts, shorts and socks, all the same colour. So it's Wilson in goal for Coventry, Van Ewijk, Thomas, Binks and Bidwell at the back, Eccles, Allen, Rudoni in midfield, Thomas Asante, Wright and Bissett up top. And now for Tottenham, it's Forster in goal, Gray, Dragusin, Davis and Spence, Bentancur, Bergvall, Sarr, Werner, Johnson and Solanke. So one change forced on Spurs in the first half, and they've made a second change at the turnaround. Here's Archie Gray looking for Timo Werner on this near side, the Spurs left, who under pressure from Van Ewijk guides it down for Spence to get his first touch of the evening. Bergvall, classy looking central midfielder who we've kept our eye on in this first half and enjoyed his performance very much for someone so young. Good ball down the right hand side for Tottenham, and Johnson in behind Bidwell, gets to the dead ball line, clips a half volley across the face of goal, but Binks will fire it back towards the corner flag. Goes the throw inside of the corner flag, taken quickly by Johnson, and Archie Gray just couldn't wrap his foot round it to lob across into the box. And away come Coventry on the counter-attack, and it's Haji Wright bursting over halfway, skips around the challenge of Davis and goes down and told to get up by the referee, who thinks he was putting it on a little bit there to try and win a free kick that wasn't his to win. Spurs win it back on halfway with Bergvall out to this left-hand side, and Dominic Solanke hustling his way in field away from Van Ewijk, just plays the ball around Jamie Allen like he's not there, finds Johnson just inside the area right-hand side. Johnson goes for goal, and it's gone wide. It's a corner, a deflection, taking it away, but it is a corner to Spurs early in this second half, 0-0.
Yeah, lovely bit of play, first of all by Bergvall to win that ball in midfield and then find Solanke, and he just kind of weaved his way, like you say, flicked it around the outside of Allen, got it the other side, played in Johnson, and again there wasn't a lot, he didn't do a lot, he just tried to shift it and shoot, and it was blocked quite easily in the end. But again, the build-up play is nice from Tottenham.
Bergvall to take the resulting corner, right-footed out swinger, drilled into the near post, flicked out by Haji Wright to the edge of the area. Allen playing head tennis with a guy who's about half a foot taller than him in Timo Werner, but he's still got it out of harm's way with the assistance of Bobby Thomas, and it's back with Forster, who collects the ball for Tottenham inside his own half. Davis on halfway, Spence showing to his left, but Davis will bring it forward 5 yards into the home side half of the field, but his crossfield ball intended for Johnson is overhit, hence the way you heard from around us here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. 0-0 still, 48 minutes gone.
I don't think Postecoglou would have gone at the players at half-time. I'm pretty sure he would have said what we've seen, which is that excellent build-up, but can we be a bit cuter in the final third? Can we maybe get a few more bodies in the box in and around Dominic Solanke and make use of those great positions that they keep finding themselves in out wide?
I'm told if he calls you mate in a press conference, that's like excommunication. He'll never talk to you again if he calls you mate.
I look forward to listening to your interview with him afterwards then.
Thanks very much. Can't wait. I've not actually had the pleasure of chatting with Ange Postecoglou as yet. He may be happy, he may be something entirely different. We'll have to wait and see how this game pans out, because we're no closer to finding out who goes through to round 4. 4 minutes gone in the second half. Free kick for Coventry sent downfield, but Spence heads it clear. Drops in the centre circle. Again, Allen, one of the smallest men on the pitch, tries to win a 50-50 header. Can't do so. And now Papa Sarr bursting down the right-hand side. Great run from the Spurs midfielder. Feints to cross with his right, feints to check onto his left, and that allowed Eccles to get himself between man and ball and draw the foul. Free kick to Coventry, 0-0.
Yeah, just tried to out Fox Eccles, and it was too easy for him. He read that he wasn't going to cross it, and as soon as he checked back, he just got his body in the way.
Celtic 2, Slovan Bratislava 0 in the Champions League. Kyogo Furuhashi, the Japanese international, gets a second. What a night potentially at Celtic Park, back in the Champions League for Brendan Rodgers and co. Remember, it's still Manchester City 0, Inter Milan 0. That's live on Talksport right now. If you've got the app, you can just swipe between our two commentaries tonight across the network, but still goalless there as it is here in the Midlands. 5 minutes gone, second half, flicked on by right for Coventry. Brandon Thomas Asante into the area, tries to get a shot away, but a brilliant challenge. Put it out for a corner in the end. Dragusin just wrapped his foot round the ball somehow and kept it away from the former West Brom hitman. But Coventry have a corner at the south stand end, 0-0.
Yeah, he's actually quicker than he maybe looks, Dragusin. He covers the ground well, because you think when Thomas Asante gets flicked in behind, he's going to be away. And he takes that touch, and there was the long leg of Dragusin just to get the deflection.
So Rodoni will have the corner right in front of those Tottenham fans in that south stand to our right. Just being told to wait, because again the referee wants a word with a couple of players. Thomas Asante's flat on his back inside the 6-yard box. And I think, is it Brendan Johnson he's talking to, the referee, as well as Thomas Asante, about a bit too much jostling going on in and around Fraser Forster. Again, there's a clutch of Coventry players around the penalty spot. Binks, Wright and Bassett are in around there. Rodoni ready to strike the corner now. Left-footed in-swinger to come from the former Huddersfield man. In it comes now, at pace. And it went almost onto the head of Haji Wright. Drops at the edge of the area. Swing and a miss from Josh Eccles. Then lofts it back into the area. But everybody was running out of the box. And that allows Forster to collect 0-0.
Again, really good delivery. Brilliant header out from Tottenham. And it was just there, wasn't it? It was there to be Paul Scholes into the back of the net. He just completely missed it.
Yeah, Josh Eccles, not a moment he'll want to remember. Here's Brennan Johnson coming forward for Tottenham. Through ball is blocked, but it comes out to Spence. Left-hand corner of the box, driving at Van Eyck. Gets inside the area, but Coventry got plenty back. Still out on this Spurs left with Werner now. Level with the edge of the box. Forced in field. So he gets into the centre of the half. Rodoni tries to win the ball. He rides that challenge, Werner. And then he's won the ball back cleanly this time, Jack Rodoni. And it's 4-on-3 for a moment. Bassett down the left-hand side. Thomas Asante on the far post if he can find him. Bassett went for goal himself from a tight angle, and it was a comfortable save at his near post for Fraser Forster. 0-0.
Again, a good break, good pace from Bassett to get away from Dragusin, but a little bit greedy. I can't blame him, because I've been there myself, and you get that into that position and you know that there's a little gap on the far post and you think you can find it, but actually the correct decision would have been to have played that across to Thomas Asante, who is free at the far post. Forster does well, just gets down and pats it away.
Well, here's Jed Spence winning a ricochet off Van Eyck, trying to get down the left-hand side, and Bommy Thomas just barges into him, and the referee says nothing wrong with that. Legitimate shoulder charge, play on. 0-0. Old school. Bergvall lays it off to Sarr. And now Bentancur finds Ben Davis just over the halfway line. Spence on this near side to us, the Tottenham left. 8 minutes gone in the second half. 0-0 on Talksport 2. Celtic 2-0 up in the Champions League. Now Ben Davis dallies on the ball, and Bassett now striding away down the right-hand side. Just checks his run for a moment. Spurs get men goal side. Bassett comes in field. He's challenged by Solanke, but Thomas Asante picks up the loose ball and works it back via Thomas and Binks out to the left-hand side, and Jake Bidwell for Coventry City. Binks on halfway, knows he's got Solanke at his back, fires it back to Ben Wilson, the Coventry keeper, who played both previous EFL Cup ties as well. He's not the number one league keeper, that's now Oliver Dovin. As Coventry come forward again, Bassett is going through the middle, and it will drop from at the edge of the area, brings it down, but back comes Spence and puts it behind for a corner. Well, the Tottenham defence seemed to stop and look on as the ball dropped out of the sky for Norman Bassett at the edge of the area, but the ball just wouldn't sit down for him. It is a corner to Coventry, though, 0-0.
I don't think he realised the position that he was in and actually how much time that he had. If he'd have just checked his shoulder, he just took so long. Again, that should have been touch out of your feet. You're there, just Forster to beat. Instead, he takes a touch, takes another touch, and then it's taken away from him.
Rodoni with another corner, another left-footed in-swinger to come for Coventry City. Delivers it now, deep to the far post. Forster comes and doesn't catch it. Drops out on the left-hand side and Bissett will retrieve. Faced up by Bergvall. Got support from Bidwell. Bidwell, the first-time ball into the box. Volleyed up in the air by Solanke. Chested down at the edge of the area, but that allows Spurs to get it clear. Archie Gray was the man that put his foot through the ball. But nobody in Spurs green on halfway, so Van Ewijk can head it back to his keeper, Wilson. 0-0. But it starts to warm up again here, and a long ball over the top trying to get Bidwell in behind of all people. Bidwell goes round the keeper, he's fell, but Haji Wright tries to slip the loose ball into the net, and it's blocked in front of goal by Radu Dragusin, and it only ends up being a Coventry corner when Bidwell felt he was clattered into by goalkeeper and defender as he won the header.
I mean,
0-0.
That is incredible. Bidwell has been completely taken out, wiped out. He gets the little flicked header because he's in behind. Forster takes him out. Yes, it falls to Haji Wright, who gets his shot blocked on the line, but do you not go back for the fact that the goalkeeper's wiped out Bidwell?
Well, it was amazing to see Bidwell in that position in the first place. Here comes the corner from Rodoni, deep to the far post. Bidwell heads it across the face of goal, headed up in the air by Wright, drops at the edge of the 6-yard box. The offside flag has gone up against a Coventry player, and the frustration just starting to build around the Coventry Building Society arena. And Darren England at the centre of their ire. No VAR, we're in a VAR-free zone here at the Coventry Building Society arena. Davis and Forster were the two players that made Jake Bidwell the meat and the sandwich for that challenge.
I mean, ultimately, Darren England has made the decision that actually you have got the advantage because Haji Wright pretty much has got the goal at his mercy just to make sure he gets it past Davis. He doesn't look up, he doesn't know he's there.
Given away by Spurs. Thomas Asante in the centre of the Tottenham half has got Rodoni to his right, just inside the area, gives it back to Thomas Asante, gets the shot away, and it's only just wide of the angle of post and bar. And Coventry City really got their tails up here, and Spurs have got to be careful. 57 gone, 0-0.
Well, they've just got up the pitch 10 yards, Coventry. They're now looking to press a little bit higher, win the ball back, which they have done twice now. Thomas Asante interlinking with Rodoni, and again, it's so difficult to get a good strike away if it's right underneath your feet. He's trying to almost move his feet out the way to then pull his leg back to take the strike. It's always going to mean you're digging it in and under the ball and up and over the crossbar.
Dean Ashton, former England, Norwich and West Ham striker, alongside me, Ian Danter, tonight here in the Midlands. Coventry City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0, 57 gone. What a night at Celtic Park. Celtic are 3-0 up on Slovan Bratislava now. Arne Engels with a penalty to make it 3. But still 0-0 here. Dragusin, who just blocked that goal-bound shot from Haji Wright a couple of minutes ago, chips the ball down the right wing looking for Brennan Johnson, but it's comfortably headed clear by Bidwell. Eccles looks for Rodoni, just shy of halfway, but Spurs win it back. Pape Sarr finds Timo Werner, left-hand corner of the area, faced up by Van Ewijk, tries to hit it across the face of goal. Van Ewijk blocks it behind for a Spurs corner now at the North Stand end, 0-0.
He's had lots of the ball, Werner, still waiting just to get that half a yard. Usually when he slows the defender up, he's got that acceleration to get away. Probably could have used Jed Spence as well.
Bergvall will take the free kick, the corner kick rather, from this near side, and it's headed goalwards by Davis and blocked on the line by Ben Wilson to push it behind for another corner. Free header, Ben Davis, 8 yards out, got it on target. First effort on target for Spurs, and we played an hour.
Yeah, free header, powerfully put towards a goal from Davis. Van Ewijk just wasn't doing his job, allowed in the header, good save.
Bergvall plays the corner short this time to Timo Werner, who's joined him on this near side. Lovely cross with the right foot, but headed up in the air and out by Binks. Van Ewijk on the left-hand side of his own penalty area will complete the clearance up towards halfway. And now there's a chase on between Werner and Bassett, but Werner gets there first ahead of Norman Bissett and guides it back to Fraser Forster. Loose ball picked up by Haji Wright, who's charging down the right hand side for Coventry City, gets past Spence, still with Haji Wright, and the shot is blocked on its way to goal by Bentancur. Mazy run from the American. Still Coventry have it on the right hand side with Milan van Ewijk. Lays it off to Jamie Allen, hustling forward down the right hand side. Eccles in support, plays a cross beyond to the far post. Thomas Asante tries a drive from a very tight angle and it goes well wide. But they're enjoying their football, the Championship side at the moment, but it remains goalless with an hour gone on Talksport 2.
But it really feels as if you've got to start to take one of these opportunities, because Tottenham are going to be able to bring on the stars off the substitutes bench. And again, really good play by Haji Wright, takes it past Jed Spence. Lovely little bit of footwork to get away from Davies. Draggers in again, comes across.
I think Son's had the call, and former Coventry City Academy graduate James Maddison. What a double change that is in prospect. 0-0 the score. Bergvall knocks it back to Davies just over the halfway line. He in turn plays a 1-2 with Bentancur. Looks up and finds Timo Werner on this left hand side, looking to outpace Van Ewijk for a moment down the left hand side, then checks his run, rolls it back to Spence. Spence will give it back to Davies once more. Davies, who's the Tottenham captain this evening, and he has it again from Dragisin. Will drive forward here, Ben Davies, and slide it down the left flank for Werner. Spence is there with him and Papisar. Now Spence has it, gives it to Papisar, chance for a cross, three in the box waiting for it, one of them Solanke, but all the Coventry players can just leave it because it's overhit by Papisar and it's a goal kick. And here comes Son Heung-min, and it's Dominic Solanke who is making way, Dean Ashton, for Son to enter the fray on the hour mark.
I mean, he's hardly seen the ball, has he?
No, it's not his fault, is it, really?
Not at all. And I think Postecoglou talked about it, that he'd be better for the 90 minutes against Arsenal, be better again for the minutes in his legs, and we have got to just give him a little bit of time. But he'll be thinking, I need more service.
Now, Mark Robbins thought that James Maddison might get a good reception, and there's a few boos, but it's mostly applause as Maddison comes on for Bergvall in midfield. Maddison back at the club where he was an academy graduate, made just over 40 appearances before heading to Norwich City to continue his football development, and then Leicester, and then of course now Tottenham Hotspur. Celtic 3, Slovan Bratislava 1. Kevin Wimmer has a goal back for Slovan, but still 0-0 here. But that double change made by Tottenham Hotspur. But Radoni now bringing the ball over halfway at pace. Tall, rangy midfielder Jack Radoni slips it out to the left-hand side. Early cross looking for Thomas Asante. Coventry City lead, and they deserve it. Brandon Thomas Asante, his second goal in the EFL Cup, and Spurs are in trouble in the Midlands. Just over an hour gone. They've called for the cavalry from the bench, but now they've gone behind. Ball in from the left-hand side from Bassett was perfection, and Thomas Asante just slotted it home past Forster at his near post. How about this? Coventry City 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
Oh, they absolutely deserve it. They've been terrific in the second half of Coventry, and again it's that space out wide that Tottenham give you. They find it out towards the left-hand side. Bassett is out there. This time gets his head up early, finds a brilliant cross to Thomas Asante, who for some reason is completely unmarked. He just runs between Jed Spence and Davies, and just there, side foot, crisp, firm. Absolutely no way Forster is going to save that. Brilliant cross, superb finish.
£2.6 million brought him to the Coventry Building Society Arena after 21 goals in a West Bromwich Albion shirt. The former Salford forward Brandon Thomas Asante. And with 64 minutes gone, Championship leads Premier League on Talksport 2. Ball intercepted by Thomas for Coventry, as Son tried to get involved for the first time tonight since coming on as a substitute. Van Ewijk flicks it down the right-hand side, but it's overhit for Bassett. And now, all eyes on Ange Postecoglou, still hands in pockets. Does he do anything further to that double change he's just made? Because he made that change with the scoreline still at 0-0. Davis getting over the halfway line, finds Maddison, his first involvement, flicks it out to this near side and Jed Spence. Werner being watched by the goal scorer Thomas Asante, comes in field to about the midway point of the Coventry half, has to go backwards of square to Davis. Now Spence shows too much of that to Milan Van Ewijk, and he just tucks it in field to Thomas Asante, who's under pressure from Son, nudges him to the ground. Free kick to Coventry, and the home fans are loving it, 1-0.
And it's just the intensity, the physicality of this Coventry side. They've definitely got the edge with the physicality, but Tottenham need to show that they've got the quality and the better players. Try and get it into Maddison as much as they can. Let him start to create and get it on the back foot.
Well, now a free kick as Haji Wright was being manhandled by Dragusin. They played it quickly and Bassett tried to flick it into the area. Fraser Forster under pressure from Rodoni, closing him down. Spurs get it half clear. Johnson does well to keep it in play on the far side, but he's given it straight back to Rodoni down the left-hand side of the box, and he's won a corner. Oh, Spurs are all at 6s and 7s, and Coventry City have a corner and are pushing for a second here.
They can't find that composure that they had in the first half. Coventry sensed it. Like I said, 10 yards further up the pitch, a higher press, not allowing Tottenham now to just play easily in towards Bentancur, and they're getting the rewards because of it.
So Jack Rodoni with another Coventry City corner kick, this time in the southeast corner on the far side of the field from us. Left-footed outswinger this time from the Coventry number 5. Again, it's drilled deep to the far post, looking for Bidwell, headed out the area by Spence, comes out to the Coventry captain Eccles, and laid back to Van Ewijk at the edge of the centre circle. He floats it straight back out to that left-hand side for Rodoni, but it's just too high for the midfielder. Comes off the top of his head and out for a Tottenham Hotspur throw. 66 minutes gone. You're listening to Talksport 2, Carabao Cup Round 3. Coventry 1, Tottenham 0. Brandon Thomas Asante with his second goal in as many games in this competition to give the Sky Blues the lead. Dean Ashton.
And they've been terrific because of that energy, that intensity, but they've got to still be very, very careful with this Tottenham side.
Here comes Maddison, charging over the halfway line, flicks it left to Spence, who gets up to the edge of the area, gives it back to Maddison, gets his head up, 3 waiting for a cross inside the box. Spence now has it, pulls it back to the edge of the area, it just ricochets away from Son and allows Coventry City to clear their lines. It was Haji Wright who just put his foot through it, and now Timo Werner keeps the ball in play, just having thrown the ball into Bentancur, not had the best pass back to him.
But that was just a little glimpse with Maddison, who's away again.
He is down the left-hand side of the area, but Bobby Thomas has come out to force him out towards the corner flag. Maddison down at the dead ball line, checks onto his right foot, finds Werner at the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Maddison again, couple of step overs, tries to get past Thomas, flicks up in the air, might break for Brennan Johnson. It's in front of goal, and Ben Wilson could just gratefully pounce on the ball, the Coventry keeper. And another minute ticks by for Ange Postecoglou. 68 gone, 1-0 Coventry.
But what Maddison does give you is that calmness. He won't be rushed. His touch is so good. He can manipulate the ball and fake to cross and just find a little pass here and there.
Haji Wright making great strides down the left-hand side, up against Archie Gray, rolls Archie Gray, gets into the area, great run from the American, still has it tight to the touchline, and then he had one touch too many, wanted a corner, but it ended up being a goal kick. But great barrelling run from the American for Coventry, goal kick to Spurs, 1-0 Cov.
I mean, he does so well to start with, gets past Archie Gray, drives into the penalty area, then cuts back away and can probably find a pass, but then turns back in towards Archie Gray, who he's just left behind.
Maddison carries the ball forward for Tottenham Hotspur once again. They're a goal down here. Spence is going to go for goal from 30 yards. It's only just wide. It wasn't on target. It was probably, 2 yards wide maybe of Wilson's left-hand post as we look. 24,606 inside the Coventry Building Society Arena. I would say a good 4,000 of those have come up from North London, but they are looking very still and silent, the Spurs fans away to our right. All the noise, all the activity is coming from the other three sides of this arena. And Ellis Sims is about to be introduced. In fact, it's a double change. Ben Sheep is also back fit again. He hasn't featured since an injury against Oxford United here in the league game earlier in the season that we brought you live on Talksport 2. And Bassett is one of those coming off, and also Efren Mason-Clark, summer signing from Peterborough, he's coming on. So Bassett is the first to make way, and I've been impressed with him tonight. It's certainly his pace.
Yeah, his willingness to run, and not just run for the sake of it, but intelligence in his runs, arcing them out to the space out wide.
Josh Eccles makes way, and he'll give the captain's armband to Ben Sheed whilst Mason-Clark comes off, and Haji Wright, the other player, to make way for Coventry City. So a triple change for the home side, and Mark Robbins applauds all three's efforts and gives Haji Wright a pat on the back.
And I think if they can defend properly, Coventry, then there will be opportunities for Mason-Clark and Sims and Thomas Asante to break into the areas that Tottenham will leave.
All out of play for a Coventry throw on this near side. Celtic 4, Slovan Bratislava 1. Daisen Maeda, he scores the fourth goal at Celtic Park. Joyous night for Brendan Rodgers and co. Don't forget, the sports bar open for business. Jamie O'Hara presenting, remember, Tottenham fans. He's getting that word that rhymes with brambles ready. If things stay as they are, you know he's going to say it. Shambles. Miles off it. Get your calls in, and I don't know, if you're not a Tottenham fan, you can just tease him about it, I suppose, because he's going to bite. 03717 22 33 44. And if you're not going to tease him, Jason Cundy certainly is, who's alongside him. That's the sports bar from 10 o'clock tonight on Talksport. But there's plenty of time yet for Spurs to get themselves back into this cup tie. They're only 1-0 down, 71 minutes played. And two of their most prominent players are on from the subs bench to try and affect things in Son and Maddison. Dragusin steps away from Rodoni. Finds Johnson on the right-hand side. Infield for Jed Spence inside the centre circle. Options right and left for the first substitute that came on at the start of the second half for Tottenham. Remember, Brennan Johnson came on in the first half for the injured Odebear. Davis now slides it down the left-hand side for Werner. Bit of space to decide what he wants to do. Looks for Son down the left-hand side of the area. Tries to jink inside Jamie Allen, but Allen stuck to his task really well and stopped Son getting past him. And then Thomas Asante wins a throw off Werner. It remains 1-0 to Coventry City on Talksport 2.
Well, what they're not going to allow Tottenham to do, or they'll try their best not to, is let them go through the middle, let them play that pass in towards Son or towards Maddison. The space is going to be wide. It's just then, have you got the right delivery, or is it going to be cut back from a Tottenham perspective?
Well, Timo Werner has just gone down, whether he's holding the back of his knee or the top of his calf. He looks in some discomfort. Brighton 3, Wolves 1 meantime. Only 5 minutes left there, and Ferdi Kalioglu makes it safe, it would appear, for Brighton to go into the draw for round 4. And Wolves will exit the League Cup. They've got a big Midlands derby against Aston Villa coming up this weekend. Big old weekend of football across the Talksport network. I mean, Saturday, my colleague Dean Ashton alongside me here is heading to the London Stadium for the little matter of against West Ham against Chelsea, which is our Talksport lunchtime exclusive commentary.
Tasty London derby.
Take your binoculars so you can see. Dejan Kulusevski's going to come on for Werner, I think. Yeah, Timo Werner's not going to be able to continue, and that's not a good sign for Ange Postecoglou. He's already lost Odebear to injury in this game, and now Timo Werner. I can say it because Perry Groves isn't here, moving gingerly down the touchline. I can't say that word when he's in. That's very upset at me. Mind you, you've been upset all night. I've got to be careful what I say to you, Dean Ashton. You've used words like weak, pathetic. Not describing my commentary, but what's happening out in front of us. Kulusevski on for Tottenham Hotspur. but they trail by a goal to nil. Van Ewijk scrapping for possession with Spence. Thomas Asante gets his foot in. Kulusevski gets involved for the first time. Good strength from the Swede. Down the left-hand side of the area. Still got it into the area. Brilliant skill from him, but he just couldn't get the ball through Ben Sheaf. And Thomas Asante's there again for Coventry City. Finds Van Ewijk. Well, he's given it away. Spence down the left-hand side. Getting towards the dead ball line. Faced up by Sheaf, but he'll roll it back infield to Bentancur in the centre of the half. Sarr now for Spurs. Leaves it for Gray. Johnson. Got Bidwell at his back. Gray and Johnson again combining down that far side for the visitors. Kulusevski at the edge of the area. Son has drifted out to this near side, the left-hand side. You might get it from Ben Davies here, who's in possession. But he turns away from Ellis Sims. Knocks the ball in field for Rodrigo Bentancur. He's got Sims trying to take the ball off him. Davis again now for Tottenham. Infield looking for the run of Maddison, but it was Jamie Allen there again, tigerish and tenacious, to win the ball back for the hosts. And it's cleared downfield. And Sims, who got the goal on Saturday that gave Coventry the lead at Watford, makes a nuisance of himself on halfway. And Radoni now finds Ellis Sims with a through ball on halfway. Sims across the field to Jake Bidwell, approaching the left-hand corner of the penalty area, floats it to the far post. Sims goes for goal, just the wrong side of the post, and Mason Clark was sliding as well to try and force it home, and it just went the wrong side of the post for Coventry City, who remain 1-0 up.
Oh, it was a terrific cross from Bidwell as well, just to stand it up for Sims to go and attack. It goes over Davies' head. He just tries to guide it back towards that far post, and Mason Clark goes diving in, feet first, trying to get a touch and couldn't quite. But Bidwell has been so useful on that left-hand side when he's had the opportunity to get forwards.
It's 1-0 Coventry City, 76 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Long ball downfield, picks out James Maddison, edge of the D, curls it goalwards, and it's wide by about a yard. Went for the bottom corner and couldn't find it. Goal kick to Coventry City, away to our left-hand side. And another change coming up for Coventry. And Jack Radoni is going to make way for Victor Torp, the Torpedo. They call him that because he scored a scorcher on his debut in the Cup against Sheffield Wednesday. Hasn't scored since, but he's coming on anyway. And Radoni, well, he's one of a number of Coventry players, Dean Ashton, tonight that have impressed me. I saw him a couple of times at Huddersfield and liked what I saw. And, you know, playing in that position that Casey Palmer played so well for Coventry last season, he's been terrific.
I think as well, he's been just such a great link, hasn't he? Very direct in terms of when he gets that on the half turn, he's not waiting around. It is out with his feet and looking for a pass for one of his forwards. Always looking to then drive with it and try and commit people. He's been excellent in that area, and Torp maybe just a little bit more defensive now to go in there and just shore things up in the middle of the pitch.
Absolutely right. He's not quite as forward-thinking as the man he's replaced. So Torp for Radoni. 13 minutes to go. 1-0 Coventry on Talksport 2. Here is Torp down the right-hand side. He finds Ellis Sims via a deflection inside the area. Tries to chop inside the defender. Goes for goal. Mason Clark again sliding in. He does connect this time, but he goes wide again. Goal kick.
Oh, he just goes with the wrong foot. He goes with the right foot, trying to get it to go into that near post with the outside of his right foot. If he goes with the left, so much more of a chance to scoop that in. Not easy, because Sims has taken the shot and it's taken a deflection and it's come at him really quickly. You just hope that that isn't something that comes back to haunt them.
Gorgeous full moon rising opposite our Coventry position here at the Coventry Building Society. We had that, what was it, full moon, harvest moon and lunar eclipse all in one last night, didn't we? I didn't see it. Bentancur for Tottenham, trailing by a goal to nil, going out of the Carabao Cup and piling the pressure on Ange Postecoglou at this early stage of the season. Brighton 3, Wolves 2. Tommy Doyle's got a late goal back for Wolves. They're not quite done yet. They're in stoppage time there at the Amex. And Club Brugge 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. Jamie Gittens with the goal for Dortmund in Belgium. Bentancur for Tottenham, 11 minutes to go. Finds Dragusin on halfway. Forward to Ben Davies, who slides it down this near side. The Spurs left for Jed Spence. Son now. being faced up by Jamie Allen. Lovely turn from Maddison down this left-hand side to drop the shoulder, and then he rolls his foot on the ball for Son. Tries to clip it down the left-hand side of the box for Spence. Spence does well. Kulusevski with a drive. Brilliant save. Follow-up from Kulusevski's blocked by Jamie Allen. Superb goalkeeping and then defending to preserve Coventry's lead. But Kulusevski there again now for Tottenham. At the edge of the area, tries to find Spence, and it will just trickle over the dead ball line. But it's a corner kick. Came off a Coventry boot last of all. But Ben Wilson and Jamie Allen both denied Dejan Kulusevski within a matter of seconds, trying to get an equaliser.
Oh, but the Wilson save's brilliant. It's a combination of left arm and left thigh to keep out Kulusevski. Jed Spence did brilliantly to keep it alive. Left foot strike, brilliant save from Wilson.
Maddison with the corner for Spurs into the near post, headed up in the air by Bentancur. Strong header clear by Thomas, comes out to Gray. Now Son gives it back to Gray, centre of the Coventry half. Spence picks it up now. Out to this near side, and Maddison. Spence is going on the overlap. Maddison tries to find him, but it's blocked out of play for a throw by Van Eyvijk. 10 minutes to go. Coventry 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0 on Talksport 2. There are Spurs fans apparently already exiting the stadium, so our colleagues tell us. Poor football, one of them saying very loudly. Get your reaction into Jamie and Jason on the sports bar at 10. But here come Tottenham again into the area right hand side. Kulusevski tried to find Brennan Johnson, who was in the central position, but Coventry clear their lines, but only at the expense of a throw. 1-0.
Starting to feel hectic though, isn't it, for Coventry? Still 10 minutes to go. Tottenham just got to believe that they can wear Coventry down if they keep the speed of the play and the passing that they've got at the moment.
Cleared away by Louis Binks. There'll be a fair chunk of added time as well with all the substitutions we've seen in this second half too. Long ball down the right hand side from Dragusin is way over hit. Too much club on that, intended for Papisar. So it is a goal kick to Coventry City, and Ben Wilson is not exactly going to rush getting this back into play.
And why should he? They need to somehow, Coventry, yes, they're going to have to defend, but if they can get the ball up to Sims, win a couple of free kicks, get the ball wide, just try and take away some of the time with your own play, not just get yourself penned back in and defending for 10 plus minutes.
Goal kick downfield from Wilson, goes out of play off a Coventry head for a Spurs throw. And we're going to see more urgency, and dare I say, as the minutes tick round, it's actually been given us a Coventry throw on the advice of the assistant on the far side, Akil Housen. Coventry have been awarded a throw instead, to a huge cheer from three sides of the stadium. And there are one or two Spurs fans I can see walking down the steps towards the concourses. They have seen enough. 03717 22 3 4 gets you to former Spurs player and Spurs fanatic Jamie O'Hara, alongside the man who'll be poking him with sticks for 3 hours if it stays like this, Jason Cundy, on the sports bar on Talksport. Coventry in possession with Torp at the edge of the area. Got a drive away, but it was blocked by Ben Davis and then brought clear by Gray. Finds Bentancur, midway point of his own half. He knew that Torp was closing him down, knew he had to turn and get rid of the ball, otherwise Torp would have been straight on top of him to try and win possession back for the hosts. Spence finds Bentancur in the centre circle via Dragusin. 6.5 to go. Brighton are through. They've beaten Wolves by 3-2 at the Amex. They're through to round 4. Here is Kulusevski for Spurs at the edge of the area, pulled it back, looking for Papisar, but it went behind him. And now Coventry are on another counter-attack. Thomas Asante runs into Ben Davis, but not for the first time tonight, Dean Ashton. Spurs get the ball in a really good position down the flank, but the ball is pulled back behind the players that want to tuck it in the back of the net.
Well, I mean, the ball was cut back by Kulusevski to Papisar because he saw that run, and that was on. And then all of a sudden, Papisar just ran away from where the pass was intended, the run that he'd already made. Strange decision from Sarr to have done that, but again, not enough bodies in the penalty area. Where was the other players to back that up?
Long ball downfield, looking to get Sims in behind Ben Davies, but Davies comfortably won the header. Son Heung-min for Tottenham Hotspur. 6 minutes to go. Tottenham trailing. Brennan Johnson tries to fire the ball across the face of the goal, but Bidwell sticks out a leg and diverts it behind for another Tottenham corner. And Brennan Johnson's already got it spotted down in that northeast quadrant, ready to take the corner, and he's taking it short to Maddison. Now Kulusevski, right-hand corner of the box, left-footed ball deep to the far post. Sarr wants to win the header, but Bobby Thomas beats him to it, not once but twice, and heads it out of play for a throw. 1-0 Coventry.
Kulusevski's been the best player since he's come on. He's only been on 6-7 minutes. He's been terrific. He's got on the ball, he's started to make things happen, he's dribbled with it, he's made clever runs, he's cut the ball back twice, he's had a shot that was well saved. Bit more urgency from Dejan Kulusevski since coming on.
I think a Coventry player has been booked for preventing the throw-in being taken. Liam Kitching got himself a yellow card. One of the substitutes is warming up down beneath us. 5 minutes to go, plus added time, and there should be a fair amount of that. Talksport 2 in the Carabao Cup. Spurs trailing. Maddison rolls the ball into the feet of Kulusevski with his back to goal. Son tries to run onto it into the area, but the ball trickles away from him, and Bobby Thomas again just clubs it forward for Coventry up to halfway, but it's won back by Dragusin.
We see this so often with the top sides as Davis tries to get Kulusevski in. We see it though, that the team in the lower division put in an incredible performance, they're ahead or it's level, and then as they get tired, as we get towards the end of the game, all it takes is one person to switch off, and usually that quality can show. It's going to be a tough end to the game for Coventry, because Kulusevski, Son, Maddison are starting to combine.
Only now is Ben Wilson spotting the ball down for the goal kick. Borussia Dortmund have a second in Bruges, and it's Jamie Gittens again for Borussia Dortmund. 2-0 against Club Brugge in the Champions League. Still 0-0 at the Etihad, incidentally, between Manchester City and Inter Milan, live on Talksport at the moment. But 1-0 here to Coventry City. The Championship side knocking out Premier League Spurs as things stand, but Spurs coming forward with Jed Spence. Son on the overlap left-hand side, but Spence doesn't use him. Instead he goes back in field to Bentancur. Kulusevski, edge of the D, tries to roll it through for Spence. Brilliant goal! Fantastic equaliser from Tottenham Hotspur. Jed Spence on the end of a brilliant through ball from Dejan Kulusevski, who's been outstanding since coming on. And the flick forward for Jed Spence to run onto and fire it home was quite brilliant. And Jed Spence makes it 1-1, and Spurs may have earned a penalty shootout, maybe even more, with still 2 minutes of normal time to go.
Oh, that was sheer class. That's the quality, that's the difference of the top level. It was Spence who started things off. He played it into Maddison. Maddison's outside of the foot pass was absolutely gorgeous into Dejan Kulusevski, who round the corner to Jed Spence, who was just too quick for Wilson to poke it past him.
Spence again getting involved. That is his first goal for his new club, but then that's no great surprise. He's only made a handful of appearances, but what a time to score.
But it was the invention of that first pass from Maddison, as in a player that before the ball's even got to him has got his head up, he's seen the picture, outside of the right foot in towards Kulusevski, takes a touch round the corner. Spence, who started it off, had made the darting run, as Postecoglou would want from his full-backs, getting into that centre-forward position and finishing calmly.
So 1-1 on Talksport 2. A minute and a half of normal time to go. Celtic 5, Slovan Bratislava 1. Adam Eder icing on the cake for Celtic on their return to the Champions League. Kulusevski trying to find Son down the left-hand side. It's intercepted. Maddison has it back. Now there's a bit more nervousness around this stadium. Penalties beckon, unless, as Johnson is fouled by Bidwell, and Spurs now have a free kick out on the far right-hand side, right on the touchline, just over the midway point of the half. 1-1.
Well, if you show your quality against the team in a lower division, then as time ticks on and they get tired and the concentration levels dip slightly, you can sense it's there for Tottenham.
Maddison to take the free kick from the right hand side, plays it short to Kulusevski, right hand corner of the box, tries to loft it into the area, but it's cleared away, and Efron Mason-Clark now looking to lob it forward and chase after his own flick, but he won't outpace either Papsar or Jed Spence, the goal scorer, who controls it well but runs into Mason-Clark, and it's a throw to Coventry City, bang on halfway. Spence took the throw too quickly, and now there's a yellow card for James Maddison for too much back chat to the referee, Darren England. And in the end, Coventry will have the goal kick, and we're moving into 4 minutes of minimum added time, after which, if there's no further scoring, we'll go to penalties here on Talksport 2 in the Carabao Cup. Love it.
For official has indicated that the minimum of 4 minutes additionals are the minimum of 4 minutes additional.
So we're into that now, as you can hear from the PA announcer here at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Have either side got a winner in them in these added minutes? Jake Bidwell for Coventry down the left-hand side, leaves it for Efron Mason-Clark. Lovely drill ball forward, trying to get Milan van Ewijk in, but it was actually a little too far into the penalty area and allowed Fraser Forster to come across and collect the loose ball, the Tottenham keeper.
And that, it's what this competition now has become, is that excitement of penalties at the end of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's meant that it's given any side in the lower leagues a real opportunity to know. I mean, Coventry have absolutely been terrific tonight, and will feel obviously disappointed if they don't win.
Ball cleared downfield by Davis. Kulusevski loses out to Bobby Thomas. Good strong header from him. Sheaf for Coventry City. Infield, but Torp is dispossessed by Benton Core. And now Spurs have got 3-on-3. Lovely through ball. Brennan Johnson's in on goal. He's won the tie for Tottenham Hotspur. What a turnaround. The Spurs staff off the bench, and Postecoglou claps his hands. And Tottenham have saved themselves in added time. And it's Brennan Johnson to the rescue for Tottenham Hotspur. Benton Core's through ball, exquisite, and Johnson could just run onto it, wait for the keeper to commit, and slot it past him into the bottom corner to send Spurs through to round 4. Coventry 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Against the best, against the elite level, you don't get a second chance. It's a poor mistake from Torp. He's dispossessed, and then Bentancur is so cool to make sure, and that's what's important. He absolutely makes sure with the pass right in towards Brennan Johnson, who doesn't have to check his stride. All he can do is look at the ball, check the goalkeeper, see Wilson coming out, and just make sure that he kind of lifts it with a little bit of spin away from Wilson and just trickles into the back of the net.
Back underway on Talksport 2. Coventry City, who were in front 2 minutes before the end of normal time, now find themselves 2-1 down 2 minutes into added time. But they're going to have a long throw into the box. Milan van Ewijk takes a fresh, clean, dry football from the multi-ball system. Out on the left-hand side for Coventry. Comes in at pace. Thomas tries to flick it on. It's cleared away as far as Ben Sheaf, just ahead of the centre circle. Floats it back into the box. Spence heads it clear. Coventry are trying to pick up the loose ball. It's Thomas Asante down the right-hand side of the box, but James Maddison takes it off his toe and will drive down this left-hand side, caught by Thomas Asante. Spurs have a free kick, and that may well be that. Coventry 1, Spurs 2.
He was just waiting for it. He was just waiting for Thomas Asante to come across, to then just step in front of him, take a whack, take the foul, and just ebb the time away. It's actually good experience from James Maddison.
And he's only just now picking himself to his feet, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham that Fraser Forster He's going to take Borussia Dortmund have scored a third in Belgium. Serhou Guirassy makes it Club Brugge 0, Borussia Dortmund 3. Still 0-0 between Manchester City and Inter Milan. But now it's the Spurs fans singing. The 4 minutes of minimum stoppage time are up. It's down to Darren England how much more we add on. Spurs are almost there. Throw-in goes Coventry's way, but it's inside their own half. They need to get it downfield quickly if they want to create another opportunity. Ellis Sims tries to nod it down for a teammate, but just heads it straight out of play. And what a change in the demeanour and the thoughts inside the head of the two managers, Ange Postecoglou and Mark Robbins, as the full-time whistle goes and Tottenham Hotspur have inched their way into round 4 of the Carabao Cup. But my oh my, how late they left it to rescue their night. Coventry City had gone ahead midway through the second half when Brandon Thomas Asante slotted the ball in at the near post after a spell where Coventry had played their best football and had got Spurs worried. They deserved the lead that they got, and they preserved that lead up until 2 minutes from the end of the 90, when James Maddison and Dejan Kulusevski combined brilliantly through the centre of the pitch to allow the on-running Jed Spence to slot his first goal for Tottenham and equalise matters. But there was still time for a winner, and that winner came from Brennan Johnson in stoppage time. Coventry dispossessed on the halfway line. Bentancur's through ball was delicious, and Johnson took it first time, slotting it past Ben Wilson. And from being almost out, Tottenham Hotspur are most definitely in round 4. But boy oh boy, that was close. Dean Ashton, full time. Coventry City 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Well, they made it difficult, but there was still a lot of time left when it started to feel like it was a panicked defensive display from Coventry, who'd been terrific up until the 80th minute. But when you can bring on Maddison, Son, Kulusevski off your bench, when the opposition are fatigued from already putting in a brilliant defensive display, that is the difference. It is at this level when you can bring on that quality, because they are the game changers, the difference makers, and they just at the wrong time made the mistake, and you pay against the best. But you just wonder how important that turnaround could be for Ange Postecoglou, because at 1-0 going out of the Carabao Cup was looking extremely bleak.
Well, Ange Postecoglou is out on the pitch now, just shaking the hands with his players as they've gone to the Spurs fans, those that remained in the South Stand. We told you that there were a few that drifted away when Thomas Asante put Coventry ahead. Meanwhile, the Coventry players are just doing their little mini lap of honour and getting their appreciation, because they certainly had the better of matters in the first half of the second half of this game, Dean Ashton.
They were terrific, and in terms of tactically, I thought they got it spot on in the first half. They allowed Tottenham nothing in and around their area. Second half put in a terrific 15-20 minute spell to get themselves ahead, and probably could have even been further ahead with the opportunities that they had. But you have to take it away from the top sides. If you don't, you're always running the risk of them showing the quality, bringing the quality off the bench, and ultimately they'll probably look back and go, do you know what, we've not done a lot wrong, we've put in a terrific performance, and actually it's just that little bit of quality that has been the difference between the two sides.
First look at 1 or 2 in the Tottenham Hotspur colours tonight. Lucas Bergvall, the young Swede, impressed me. Dean, what about you?
Yeah, a classy player in the way that he moves, the way that he receives the ball, good vision in the way that he found his teammates and found those free players out wide. For someone so young to look as composed as he did, and I did keep looking over towards the Tottenham supporters. Plenty of applause with some of the little moves that he made. And then, of course, you've got players like Jed Spence who, while he kicked a ball for the club, coming on and looking like the player that we know he is.
Maybe that loan at Girona last year's Genoa rather done the world of good.
Yeah, and again, he probably feels like, when is my chance going to come? Well, he's given the manager something to think about with his performance when coming on,
and certainly when Kulusevski came on, everything.
Him in particular.
Yeah,
I know Maddison will always show the quality and so on, but I thought Kulusevski just brought something totally different, a different energy when he came on, different quality. All of a sudden, within 5 or 6 minutes of him being on, there was 2 or 3 opportunities that were created because of his quality.
Dean, as always, thanks for your company tonight, fella.
Absolute pleasure.
The phone lines are open. Our operators are standing by to take your calls on Talksport right now. Spurs fans, Coventry fans, your reaction to that game and the result, with Jamie O'Hara, celebrity Spurs fan, and Jason Cundy, former Spurs defender, on the sports bar. 03717 223344 is the number. You'll hear reaction from both managers as well into that show if you flick over to Talksport right now using the app or your DAB. Up next here on Talksport 2, another chance to hear EFL All Access with Hugh Wozencroft and Adrian Clark. But after a terrific cup tie here in the Midlands, fans drifting away from the stadium with a full-time score, Spurs through to round 4. They've beaten Coventry City by 2-1.